Hello. Now we're into installment number 8. And this is about you needing to stop justifying. Yes, each of us have had a bad attitude, and that we have a good reason for it, and that we're justified in having it. We've all heard those words from others. We've said them ourselves. And as he puts it, he has seen an attitude emerge frequently, usually among men and women who are in a relationship and they're having issues. And they'll say, I know I was part of the problem. I know I made mistakes. I may have been wrong much of the time, but... yeah. And that word, that 3-letter word, B-U-T, serves as a trigger for self-justifying explanations of why they feel they have the right to feel hurt and to be vindictive towards their spouse or significant other. If you could separate yourself from all the negatives and just look at yourself, get a sense of yourself and what your responsibility to yourself is. Okay, so that's asking a lot. It's asking that you get away from dwelling on the perceived unfairness, to take a good attitude and be truly defenseless. He says, in many years of ministering to a large, vibrant congregation of people, I have seen more instances than I can recall where seemingly insurmountable obstacles could be moved out of the way with the right attitude, with the result that a person's life could indeed move forward. Terminally ill patients have become well. Marriages on the rocks have been saved. Troubled families are knitted closer together. There have been dramatic breakthroughs in careers. I've seen attitude changes cause books to be written, music to be performed, and lives to be transformed in more ways than could fit inside a book. A good attitude costs nothing, okay? It's just a small investment. And having a good one takes no more time than having a bad one. Same amount of time. It all starts like a little kernel, a small choice that you make calmly and quietly within you, like a wonderful little surprise gift you decide you will deliver to the waiting world. It's a small choice. It really is. And that's one of the hardest things that people have, is trusting in a small choice. But it promises big results. So why not make that choice right now, even before I continue? Because the power only resides in you, and only you. So, having said that, that's just kind of a reiteration of the fact that you need to stop justifying and have a positive outlook on things. So let's talk about tapping your inner momentum. One of the worst things that can happen to any of us in life is what we call quick quitters. Sometimes, as soon as we are confronted by a major problem, we run away from it. So think about that. Pessimism and a lack of self-belief causes us to take the easier course, and we simply stop trying. Or, when faced with a setback, we try something else, declaring the troubling problem off limits without even thinking of trying again. So this kind of thinking permeates many of our lives, and most of the time the lives of people who are unhappy and unfulfilled. But there is a better way. We can tap on our inner momentum. When faced with a setback or even an outright failure, you fell flat on your face and then some, you can still keep moving and you can still keep trying. Admittedly, keeping hope alive and refusing to be stopped does not always lead on to a victory. It is not an easy process to do. However, refusing to be a quick quitter is one of the surest ways I know to shift the odds of success heavily in your favor. As Sir Winston Churchill said to his fellow English citizens, just when England was at its greatest danger in World War II, "Gentlemen, the situation is grave, but I find it rather inspiring." Sorry, I couldn't resist. Or as the physician Dr. Bernie Siegel said to patients who have a disease from which no one has recovered. His question to them is, would you like to be the first? You see the difference? Both these people knew that even though some obstacles seem insurmountable, success hinges on the ability to keep on hoping and striving for victory. We're talking about miracles here. But miracles do happen. I know. Most often, they happen to people who realize they can exercise the choice to refuse to be stopped. I have had some moments in my life that have been deep and dark. People that I thought would be the most supportive and the most loving were not. What I found was that usually the people who understood you the most had been there before and had felt exactly what you're feeling. And I know that I've had moments in my life where I didn't want to hear the cliches of, endure to the end, this too shall pass, and all those things, because those are easy to say. And I understand that sometimes people will say that because they don't know what else to say. And they're at a loss for words. And I have found myself in that situation with friends when they're suffering, not knowing what to say. And sometimes I'll say something and then I feel stupid because each agony that a person goes through is different for each person. And so me losing my father, I understand what that kind of loss is. You, however, it's still it's an individual agony. It can't be lumped under all these people lost their dad, therefore they all understand and feel exactly the same way. It doesn't work that way. So, what I really hope that maybe this will help somebody, even if it's one person, is stop justifying having a negative attitude about the situation, whether it involves just yourself, it involves others. Don't justify. Strip yourself and look at yourself and take care of that first. I did that. I had to do that. And that was very hard because that meant letting go of something that was precious to me but was no longer precious to someone else. So then, when you let go, you have to tap into your inner momentum. And that's where miracles happen. That's where the insurmountable, against all odds occurs. It may not happen right away. It may not happen the way you want it, but it will happen. It's keeping hope alive. And I really do like that quote by the physician, Dr. Bernie Siegel, when he said to a patient who had a disease that no one had ever recovered from. And then he said, would you like to be the first? In other words, believe in yourself up to the end. And even if you don't, the fact that you were positive and loving and you blessed the lives of those around you was a testament and a miracle in itself. So, yes, I cry. Yes, I hurt. Yes, I suffer. I have a hard time when people are angry with me. I have a hard time when people find fault with me. I have a very hard time when I lose people that I love. I have a hard time understanding why people are not as open and forgiving and loving and kind. But even the people who profess to be all those things are usually the worst. They're more judgmental. So when you're done crying, because crying is good for the soul, when you're done allowing yourself those moments, and they'll come and go, and they'll come and go, dealing with whatever the pain and sorrow and loss is that you have, pick yourself up and smile and go do something for you and only you. If you have family, yes, family is so important, but it is harder to take care of them if you are not taking care of yourself. And we sometimes let people walk all over us far longer than we should. And we think that we're being martyrs, I guess, or that we deserve it. But I learned a few years ago, when I thought I deserved it, that I realized that didn't mean I still needed to be trampled on, that I still needed to hold my head up high, and I still needed to be the person that was of great value. And I've learned that when I lose people, I have to remember who I am, that it's their loss, ultimately. They may never know that they lost a good friend, but it's their problem. It's no longer mine. It doesn't mean that I don't miss them. It just means that it's their problem. And I don't need it to be weighing me down in my life, because life is hard enough. So if you want to be there to support me, that's great. If not, your loss. Now, that's relationship stuff. But let's talk about losing a job or anything else that may go wrong in your life that you didn't need to go wrong right then. You know how they come in threes or more, where you can have your car break down, the air conditioner in the house break down, and you lose your job, or you lose your spouse, or something bad happens, and they always seem to come in at least threes. Funny later, not funny in the moment. Just pick yourself up and hold yourself up high and get out there and do some hard labor to find a way to overcome. Get down on your knees and pray if you need to. You need all the help you can to find your way. It can be found. No one who ever feels lost and alone will stay lost and alone unless you choose to. So, I hope these words help inspire you when you're ready. And smile. You are of great value and great worth.